Hello, people. I just recorded. Oh, that looked like either a male or a queen bee outside my window. Because shit. The male bees are half again as large as females, but they never go outside the hive, so it was probably the queen, because the queens are, pretty big. Anyway, enough about bees. Well, we'll save that for later. The bees. Some bee puns that I was going to bring up. So yeah, good news, bad news, and mixed news. Good news, with the exception of the fact that thermal expansion is too clever by half. I do not want this. I want this to be the output. With the exception of that, I am, I'm done doing, actually adding functionality, with the exception of aspects for the first version. The bad news. Of course, I have not been working on Thaumic Revelations for, 6 months now. Actually, no, closer to 5. But still. And it's been, 7 and a... Wait, no, it was... 7.5 months, or... I think... Yeah, 7.5 months since I did the last video. Because I've been actually writing my book series, which is good. I actually hope to be halfway done with the first book in, a few weeks here. 5 weeks by my birthday, I would like to be done. Anyway. The mixed news is, obviously, I won't be working on Thaumic Revelations much. Because, I'm trying to actually get my books done because I need to write a stupid amount of them. But, yeah. So, what are we going to do? Well, my brain's not braining good today. Yeah. I'm out of one of my medications. It's not fun. My brain isn't, working well enough to actually write a novel. And so I just made sure the thermal expansion processing of ores works. It does now. And then I started adding aspects, and yeah, adding aspects with the Thaumcraft API is actually awful. Because you're gonna be like, why? You can't see me pointing at the screen, but why is there air on that? Well, I had to add -1 air to it because I don't want you getting any. I don't want it to be worth any air. Because Salus Mundus has 2 instead of 1 air and 1 ignis, because, Thaumcraft, it's great. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be making, an add-on. But there's, little certain quality of life stuff that Aznor is just, he just didn't really pay attention to. I haven't played with 5 or 6 because, I'm still back in 1.7.10 land. But I don't think he did any. I'm not sure if it improved for those. But yeah, so I just have textures, aspects, and the Thaumonomicon entries, which I can write Thaumonomicon entries. I kind of plan on writing novels for a living, so I can write some silly Thaumonomicon entries, referencing bees at times, you know. This is the part that's important. Now, you may not be sure what you'll make, but you're sure you'll need an awful lot of redstone. Maybe ask an apiturge about it. They're bound to know a bee that'll help. Wait, Mist removed the blood magic bees. Yes. You're saying, that's a bad pun. I know. It's a Mist level pun. It is a Mist level pun. Because it's a pun about bees, and it's a bad pun about bees. That's what a Mist level pun is. But yeah, so ooh, yes, I have added aspects to some things because, you know, I can, but most of the stuff doesn't, and adding aspects is a pain in the ass. Basically, at this point, it's just, let's see here. It's the world gen plants, the things from the plants, the seeds, and I have added aspects to these three things, but not anything else, really. So it's aspects, textures, obviously, which I do not enjoy texturing, so if anybody wants to... anyone who's good at, you know, texturing and is willing to put up with my insane and oftentimes random demands, and, what else? You know, you know, basically, yeah, if you're good at making textures and are willing to put up with my insane and random demands and the fact that I'm horribly inconsistent and about things, yeah, I guess just hop on the Thaumic Revelations Discord server. And if, you know, so I will probably be working on Thaumic Revelations like twice a month, like every other week for a few hours. As you know, I'll probably start doing that, but yeah, don't expect the full release to be anytime soon, just because, yeah. And yeah, I mean, just figured I'd make a video, tell people how close and yet how far I am away from actually releasing this shit. It, in part due to the fact that, you know, I am shit at, you know, doing textures, and the aspect part of the Thaumcraft API is shit, and thermal expansion is too clever by half, and when I have the energy to write, I'm mostly writing my weird book series. Which a decent amount of the stuff I'm, you know, adding in Thaumic Revelations will be in the book series. Yeah. Shameless self-promotion, you know? I mean, if you want to learn all about the Thaumic Wardens, that's where you go. Because I'm going to have the Thaumic Wardens. there's going to be different branches and rivalries between them, and that's only a tiny part of it, but, you know, it's mostly... There's one quite progressive branch, and then there's one that's not so much, and then there's the third that's in the middle, and then there's like gonna be like another one, and then there's one that was Magniaturges that doesn't exist anymore because it was super short-lived, and now the progressive one allows Magniaturgy. It's gonna be weird. And then there's also the Abyss Walkers, who were mentioned in the lore of Thaumic Warden. Yeah, they appear. Well, not any actual Abyss Walkers, but their backstory. But you know, they're talked about. You know, I mean, maybe they'd appear if I wrote like a book that. I'm thinking like in one of the regions, because my mom and I are currently watching Game of Thrones. I have not seen Game of Thrones before, halfway through season 3 at this point, and I really, really like it because it's a good show. You know, I have ideas where I'm like, yeah, maybe Game of Thrones type deal for one of the books. Of course, you know, there's no dragons. Well, I'm thinking there actually will be a giant robot dragon protecting, like, that keeps people away from a, like, Terran reality in a snowy place that will be, you know, like a weird thing in the distant future. But, you know, Game of Thrones, except instead of dragons, we've got Eldritch Abominations, and, let's see, Eldritch Abominations, vampires, who were big into eugenics, alternate universes, you know. Yeah, but anyway, I've been able to cut this down to 13 minutes, as opposed to the 20 minutes the last video took. Of course, my microphone was off, so yeah, no sound. So it's just me just jumping around randomly, and you're like, what's the deal? Anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to, there is a Discord server you can join. I'm on most of the time. I'm not actually talking with anyone in there, but if you say something, I'll see it, I'll check, you know. Ping me if it's super important, you know. Anyway, 14 minutes is long enough. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.